Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna, welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have it. We have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Lavangela Tika. We are in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, the opulence of the Absolute. And we have been reading quite some texts in it. Today we will start on text 31, wherein first Krishna was like making some of the core verses actually in the Bhagavad-gita, how we connect in devotional service to him. And Arjuna is very enthused by this. He's very appreciative and he's expressing that this is really wonderful and I accept it, all of it, exactly as you're saying. Please speak more. And that's very often in these scriptures. They're scriptures, but they didn't start in the written form. They started in the oral tradition. And there we see this, somebody gives knowledge, somebody receives it, they reciprocate, they have questions, they show their appreciation, and it's all very dynamic in the sense that it's alive, it's happening between two persons. So here Krishna is continuing because Arjuna wanted to hear more about him. And also Prabhupada points out in the purports, which very often are taken from the commentaries from previous generations of teachers of the Bhagavad-gita, that this is not maybe mainly for those who already have an attraction and a relationship to Krishna in his personal form, although all of us are always enthusiastic to see Krishna everywhere, because that really adds another dimension to life in this world, but also for those who don't have that connection. And nowadays I would say, at least in my area of life, it seems that most people around here, they're not particularly interested in God. So therefore, if you go come on very strong and say, oh, you have to believe in God, it's really stupid to think everything can come out of nothing, that doesn't draw anybody's attraction to Krishna. So we're not here to prove that we are right, but we're actually here to help Krishna, or to help everyone who's not connected to Krishna to kind of find that connection again. And this is a way of seeing in all the different manifestations. Krishna is saying, I cannot speak about all of my opulences. I will just mention those that are most prominent. So we continue on text 31. Pavana pavatam asmi rama shastra bhritamaham jahasanang makaraschasmi shrotasam asmi jahanavi. Of purifiers I am the wind, of the wielders of weapons I am Rama, of fishes I am the shark, Makara, and of flowing rivers I am the Ganges. Jahanavi is another name for the river Ganges. Purport: of all the aquatics, the shark is one of the biggest and is certainly the most dangerous to man. Thus the shark represents Krishna. So yes, good or bad, whatever is noticeable, whatever stands out, it represents some aspect of Krishna. Of purifiers I am the wind. We know we hang our clothes out for an airing when they feel a little less than fresh, and it has a surprisingly big impact. Wielders of weapons, I'm Rama. Rama is also an incarnation of Krishna. We have the Ramayana. Rama, his activities in this world are very famous, and I'm not going to go very deeply in it here, but nobody wielded weapons in a more impressive way than Lord Ram. Of fishes I am the shark. And the shark is, how do you say? It's like a survival machine. It is very, efficient for what it is. The most efficient fish. Yes. So when we see it, we are somewhat impressed, and then we think of Krishna. Of the flowing rivers, I am the Ganges, because the Ganges is very special. I'm thinking I should just read very quickly, but it reminds us of Krishna's different activities. There is the description of a time when there was no Ganges, and we have heard of Prahlad. I think Prahlad Maharaj has come up previously. He was yes, just a few pages back actually. He was born in a family of the Daityas, those beings in this universe. We have the Devas and the Daityas. The Devas, we call them demigods. They have powers and they have responsibilities because Krishna has delegated a lot of the administration of this universe to the Devas. We don't see them so much in this modern time, but most cultures have these narratives of beings coming from somewhere else, being far more powerful and eliciting a mood of reverence and worship, and the reciprocation. They would give some form of blessings. So Prahlad was born on the other side. They're also very powerful beings, but they are not responsible. They are not connected to Krishna in that way. Rather, they are trying, as all of us in this material world, more or less trying to control this energy of the material world and enjoy it for our own sake. So a very powerful person was Hiranyakashipu, and his son was Prahlad Maharaj, who somehow or another had the great fortune of hearing from Narada Muni as his spiritual master before he was even born, and he never forgot it, and he had a big impact on his surroundings, on his friends, and actually on the whole universe. So his grandson was also still in that family line, but also a great devotee of Krishna. So when Vamanadev appeared, who is also an incarnation of Vishnu, it was very much in connection with Bali Maharaj. He came, he was a little tricky. Bali Maharaj, somehow or another, he had gained dominion of large parts of the universe, and the Devas, the demigods, they were a little afraid and they were a little unhappy, and they turned to Vishnu, because that's what they do. That's what makes them Devas. They may be very powerful, they may be very opulent, and they may sometimes get a little bit carried away by their position, but whenever things go wrong, they know that to turn to Vishnu, and they actually know that they are his servants in this world. So they turned to Vishnu, who incarnated in a very small form. He came as a Brahmana boy who was not only young but also very short, and he appeared very humble but at the same time effulgent. So he came there into the court of Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj was, this is very interesting, because some of these great demons in the Vedic traditions, they do not deny the existence of God. They just deny his position. They want to fight him. They want to take that position for themselves. So they're kind of, how to say, honest atheists. They accept God, but not in a very loving way. So he was in that family tradition, and Vamanadev appeared before him. So often they have an idea and an adherence to the Vedic culture, and as a king, a powerful person, and also any rich person, they want to follow the dharma of giving in charity. So when the Brahmana comes before them, then Bali Maharaj said, "You're a very beautiful young Brahmana boy. You are coming here with your effulgence, actually, and I want to give you something in charity. Please ask for something." And Vamanadev says, "Yes, I would like as much land as I can cover with 3 steps." And Bali Maharaj says, "I think you may not be very intelligent. See, I'm the king of the whole universe. You can ask for a little bit more." And Vamana speaks philosophy and says, if we are not satisfied with what we have, then it doesn't matter how much we gain, we will still not be satisfied. So I'm satisfied with these 3 steps of land. And the king agreed. So Shukracharya, Bali Maharaj's spiritual master, he had an objection. He said, "Be a little bit careful. I think this is Vishnu. He's very tricky. And he'll take everything away from you." And then Bali Maharaj is all like, well, if he's Vishnu and we give him everything, then we fulfill our complete dharma. And anyway, I'm a king. I have given my word. And I would rather be dead than break my promise, because that is the worst, the absolutely worst for a king, for a ruler. They may not always speak the whole truth, they may sometimes be diplomatic and tricky, but if they have promised something, that stands. So then Bali Maharaj started to grow, because he's actually Vishnu. He's bigger than the universe. So he grew so tall, and he took one step, and then he covered the whole, I'm a little unsure, but the whole planet, or all the land in the universe. Then he reached out his foot to the top of the universe, and his toe poked a hole in the coverings of the universe. And from there, the water from the causal ocean came inside, and that's where the Ganges comes from. So the Ganges was touched first by Vishnu's toe, and then it came into this universe, and it remains a very holy river. So it's the most holy of rivers, and when we see it, we think of Krishna. I have a purport of 2 lines, and I'm talking for 15 minutes. Sorry about that, but actually I'm not sorry, because I like speaking of Krishna and his incarnation, and I hope you like to hear about him. I will read the next verse also, text 32. Sarega namadirantascha madhyang jaiva hamardyuna adhyatma vidya vidyanang vada paravada tam aham. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Purport. Among the created manifestations, the first is the creation of the total material elements. As explained before, the cosmic manifestation is created and conducted by Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and then again it is annihilated by Lord Shiva. Brahma is a secondary creator. All his agents of creation, maintenance and annihilations are incarnations of the material qualities of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all creation. So almost it sounds enough if you speak about what is the most important. Well, it is the beginning, the middle, and the end that covers everything. But here we get an even more personal understanding that Vishnu himself comes as the incarnation of the mode of goodness, because mode of goodness means maintenance. And it's sometimes difficult to create something, and it's not very difficult to destroy something, but still it requires some effort. But to keep things, that is very difficult. So what actually keeps the world going, because there is a built-in sense of deterioration. If we leave things alone, they disintegrate. But to maintain things, everything, that is the principle of the mode of goodness, and that is Vishnu who gives that possibility in this world. For advanced education, there are various kinds of books of knowledge, such as the 4 Vedas. There are 6 supplements, the Vedanta Sutra, books of logic, books of religiosity, and the Puranas. So altogether there are 14 divisions of books of education. Of these, the book which presents Adhyatma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, in particular the Vedanta Sutra, represents Krishna. Yes, so we have spoken about that before also. The Vedas, they are very vast, and I am not deeply, studied in all of them. Unfortunately, I've understood from Prabhupada's commentaries especially, and also from the literatures itself, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gita, that actually mostly it's impossible to know all of the Vedas. Whichever aspects you want to study, it's going to take your whole life. Even then, maybe you won't be able to complete it. So therefore, it is very important to find the essence, because in this short lifetime, it always used to bewilder me when I was young. You read these books and it says, in this short lifetime, and I'm like 18 or 20, and I'm thinking, what do you mean short? I already lived a long time, and ahead of me, there's more and more of that time stretching out into the horizon. I can't even see the end. And now I quite realistically understand that more than half of my life has gone, and less of half of my life remains, And so it is finite. It will end. All of a sudden, before you know it, it will end. So within this lifetime, it is very important to find out what is actually that knowledge that is meaningful and eternal. Because it is actually eternal. This knowledge is eternal. And at death, the body is finished. And our connections with everything of this body, they are severed, they are cut, and we have no more everything we see, our body, our family, our country, our culture, all these things that we live for. Well, we have no connection to them anymore. And we can't, even if we wanted to. Sometimes we can stay maybe out of attachment, but we won't remember the past life. We can be born across the street in the family our worst enemy. We'd have no idea. So in this short time, or long time, depending on how you look at it, it is very useful to know what is the best thing to learn. And here Krishna says, Adhyatma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the soul, knowledge of the spiritual reality. So that represents Krishna, because it's very important. Among logicians, there are different kinds of arguments. Supporting one's argument with evidence that also support the opposing side is called jalpa. Merely trying to defeat one's opponent is called vitanda. But the actual conclusion is called vada. This conclusive truth is a representation of Krishna. I think sometimes within logic we speak about a thesis, an antithesis and a synthesis, where you don't just take one of the sides, but you get a complete understanding. So when the knowledge is complete, then it represents Krishna. Yes, we are going through this book, and every page we enter into, we find some new and inspiring aspects of Krishna. And of course, I have read Bhagavad-gita before, but I haven't read it so much that it doesn't still surprise me. Oh, this was there, and that was there, and now we can hear about it and speak about it, and also remember it. So it's actually a valuable gift, Bhagavad-gita, of course in the big sense that it connects us to the Supreme Lord and enable us to actually end this cycle of birth and death. But also in that sense that it gives us little jewels that we can carry in our heart throughout our day, and we can remember, oh yes, that is Krishna. Oh yes, that is what we heard from the Bhagavad-gita. So thank you so much. I hope you will continue to meet up with us on our channel and hear more about Bhagavad-gita. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.